defend her faith, and she was able to live out her faith. So, and then the fraternas with Rosa, I kept meeting with her every week, and slightly those questions that I had became answered. But it wasn't not just the people around me, it was my own personal relationship with Jesus, because it's one thing if what other people tell you, but what is Jesus telling you during the process? And God was always pointing to the church, and I couldn't understand, why are you pointing to this church? It makes no sense, I don't see it. And he's like, well, trust in me, trust in me. And it was one of those processes that I had two choices. I could have carried that cross and trusted him, even though I knew it was going to be scary, this place that I had no one to support me. My Protestant friends kind of turned their backs on me, even though they were like, oh, it's cool, it's your decision, but we're not going to support you, bye. Unfortunately. So I didn't have a church to go to anymore, but I did not know if the Catholic Church was a true church. So here I am, like, oh, but where do I go to church? Like, I cannot go here, I cannot go here. And so I just kind of started stalking the fraternas. What do we do? Okay, guys, I'll follow. Okay. So they would go to Mass, I'll go to Mass. They would go to pray in front of the pregnancy center, I'll go there, even though I was like, I never gave a thought much to abortion, but, now that you're talking about it, okay. And then, so little by little, like, I started praying the rosary. I started having devotion to Mary. My spiritual life increased. God was moving so powerfully in me, and it was not truly just based on emotions. It was a spiritual walk that was based on rational thinking, was based on a spiritual journey that kept going deeper and deeper, and it was a big cross. It was not something that you go in and you say, ha, I'm so happy, it's so cool. It was hard. It was hard, but it was so worth it. So it was 2 years of doing this journey, and I was still not convinced. I was like, Lord, if I'm making this step, you better tell me black and white 100% that this is the way to go, because I'm not taking a chance, even if it's 1 point or 0.00001% that this is not the chance. I'm not taking a chance. Like, I want to know all or nothing. Like, I want to know you're 100% this is the church. So every time I would get doubts, who would I call? Kat or Rosa? I had them on my speed dial. I'm freaking out. What do I do? So, I mean, the bottom line is, it was a big journey. It was a process. The conversion is a process. It's not something that you just wake up one day and say, oh, I'm going to be a Catholic, right? And Jesus was there along the way. Jesus was guiding me. He was showing me only one step ahead what I needed to know. I couldn't see 4 steps ahead. I had no idea what the future was going to hold. I had no idea. I couldn't even call myself Catholic. Like, just saying I'm Catholic just sounds weird. I was just like, I don't know. But I'm not Protestant, I know that. But I'm not Catholic, so am I in no man's land? And so that's where EWTN and a lot of the books that came into play. They have wonderful, wonderful apologetics websites and resources. And I kept listening and listening to a lot of people that converted, and people that were pastors, that was their career in a way, and they sacrificed it all. So when I looked at them and what I had to give up, I thought, God, like, I'm selfish. Like, I'm thinking, poor me, going through this, I feel alone, and yet these people have to go with a family and children through this process and give up their income. I mean, that was their income, that's what sustained them. And, and here I am making a big deal, and ultimately through this process, I found one thing. Why would someone, let's say the fraternas, give up, people know that, you usually strive to create a family, wealth, things like that. Why would they give up all of that if they didn't believe the Eucharist, Mary, was the real thing, that this was the church? Like, why would they give up all of that? Why would they live every day in such hope and such love the way they do if they didn't think this was the real thing? There has to be something to it. Like, day after day after day after stalking them, I realized they were living this out, and they believed in what they lived out. Like, they truly believed with everything they had. So was Kat and her family. When I would go and interact with them, it was such a beautiful Catholic family that I was like, God, I know you're so present in this family. Like, this is really speaking out to me. Like, something is going on. So, basically, to all Catholics out here, that you feel like maybe your Protestant friends are pushing you into scriptures, the only thing you need to do is trust in the Lord and just be as faithful to the Lord as you can in your journey with Him, because the way you live out your life will speak louder words than you can ever do. You might not know theology, that's fine. That's fine. Some of the first centuries, Christians didn't know anything about theology. That's okay. As long as you live out a true, authentic Catholic faith, you will be in such an amazing testimony, such an amazing witness to people like me that are looking for the true home, that there's no denying it. And that's what attracted him to me, was Catholics like Kat, like the fraternists, like the St. Mary's guys that, you know, are on fire, or not on fire. So just keep doing what you're doing, and hopefully more people will understand that this is the real home. This is the church. But ultimately, if people ask me who brought you to this, Jesus brought me to this. Because Jesus introduced me to Kat, which introduced me to Fraternists, which introduced me to this community, which introduced me to a lot of you. And that's the reason why I'm here. It's because of Jesus. And because of Jesus' presence in the Eucharist, I am now Catholic.
So my name is Lorna, if you don't know me. I'm from Honduras, and my family isn't really faith-centered at all. My mom grew up Catholic, but now she goes to Protestant church. I don't remember the last time we went to church as a family. We never talked about faith. We never prayed together. That was completely foreign to my household. And so I always thankfully had a strong belief in God. My mom always taught my brothers and I that, and I prayed, you know, at night, very simple prayers, but I had that strong faith in that relationship with God, even if it wasn't with Jesus. For some reason, that didn't translate. And so I know Sophie, I graduated with her from high school. She knows how I pushed Catholics and Christians in general, how I pushed their buttons. I would be the kid that would like ask him, why are you doing this? Why do you not eat meat on Fridays? I would be the one telling him, hey, it's Friday, you can't eat meat. And just like pushing their buttons like that a lot. But then God brought me to St. Mary's, and he put me in the room with a very strong Protestant. Faith like nobody I had ever seen before, read the Bible every night and journaled every night and went to pray and stuff like that. And it was totally bizarre. And I thought she's one of those crazy Hallelujah kids. Alright, God, I guess, I mean, that's fine. Slowly but surely, God really started speaking to me through Sarah. A lot through Christian music, very simple, but stuff like that started speaking to my heart, and God just became more and more present in my everyday life. I started praying a little bit more, and all of that. And he also surrounded me, obviously, with a great community, not just of Christians, but more specifically Catholics. I was in a Catholic university, and for the first time in almost all my life, I saw Catholics who knew what they were doing, who lived their faith, who knew why they did or didn't do something. And that was surprising to me. I hadn't really seen that a whole lot. So slowly but surely, God started working more and more through Sarah and through like this amazing community that he surrounded me by. Like Sarah said, at the beginning of sophomore year, we met a lot of human kids who I thought at first were crazy. Because we would see them in the calf playing weird games and stuff. And I remember telling Sarah, it's those crazy human kids. And through all this, Sarah would constantly want to talk to me about Jesus, about the Bible, about baptism, about all these things. And I always loved talking about those things, never agreeing, but always talking about it. And I remember Sarah being in tears with me after almost every conversation, saying, Lorna, my deepest heartaching desire for you is to know Jesus. And I just kind of nodded and smiled, but in my head, I was thinking, poor Sarah, that is never going to happen at all. Little did I know. So after meeting a lot of these guys, Andrew, Brian, Phil, David, Sean, like all of these guys, what really started attracting me to that faith community was their love and their passion and how they had a purpose in life, which I hadn't really quite grasped in my own life. So that's what kept bringing me in. And I had a ton of conversations with Sean, especially with Phil, who's in Peru now, with all of these guys. And of course they were very loving, and they never really pushed me at all. They wanted to know what I believed and why I believed it. And so that was so welcoming, and it was so different to anything else I'd seen faith-wise before. And so one night, Andrew and Sarah were in the room. It was late at night, and I had been struggling a lot with the whole Jesus thing, because time and time again, I went on my first retreat, and God just kept showing me these things, saying, all right, you need to believe in Jesus. But I didn't want to take that leap of faith. But one night, Sarah and Andrew were in the room, and I was finally able to take that doubt and take that burden and just give it to Jesus and say, all right, I believe in you. So that was a huge step for me. Little did I know that a huge other thing was coming with that as well. So after going through a lot of things, just with becoming a Christian, it became a matter of, all right, so I have been baptized, so where should I get baptized? And so I remember telling Sarah in the library, like, Sarah, I don't want to decide between being Catholic, being Protestant, because I had two awesome examples of that in my life. So I said, I'm going to just get baptized in a non-denominational church, because I don't want to choose yet. She was like, Lorna, that's Protestant.
Yeah.
So then it became a matter of, all right, so where do you want me to go? And so that's kind of where God worked more of His magic and put Sarah and I on that path. Just learning more about Catholicism and what it means, what they believe, and why. And there were a lot of obstacles. Church authority was a huge issue for me. The Pope, all of that, Mary as well. So just learning what it all meant, why it was all there, that was huge. But aside from that, like the rational theological reasons, I had a huge aversion almost toward being labeled as Catholic. I did not want that whatsoever. But after quite a while of praying about it, of reading and talking and like all these things, I was finally ready. It was at Mass, actually. It all clicked. And I thought, all right, God, if you want me to go through ICAA, I'll do it. So since then, like I said, it's been an amazing, amazing journey, and this is the beginning. Like, we don't even know. And so I wanted to thank each and every one of you, really, because the three of us stand here, and we don't have our families, our biological families, with us right now. But all of you are. And I can't tell you how much it means to every single one of us to have you here. I think in heaven you'll be able to understand, hopefully, because we just cannot express it in words at all. And it's been your love, it's been your prayers. Thank you so much for praying so faithfully for us. I know Sarah has been praying for me since before she met me. And it's amazing to see what God can do when a big community joins and prays. And so, Triple family, thank you so much for taking us into your family. Like Sarah said before you even knew us, it's been such an amazing support. We can't thank you enough. Everyone at St. Mary's and Fraternitas have been such amazing examples of what the joy of being Catholic is. Rosa especially. I mean, Rosa met me, I think, when I had just become Christian, and I spent my first Holy Week